Hi there, I'm Darren Howard.
And I'm Robert Nisbet.
This is part 2 of our incredible special on No Shame.
And apparently Chevron, in addition to suing the Ecuadorians for making a huge mess in their land.
They're suing it. Did you check out part 1? That was awesome. But here in part 2...
Well, they had a little problem on the domestic side in Illinois, Pennsylvania.
Yes.
And apparently a fracking well blew up, causing widespread damage. People died. And Chevron's answer was to offer the citizens pizza coupons.
Check this out.
Kelowna, Pennsylvania, Kelowna, where one of Chevron's natural gas wells exploded, starting a fire that lasted 4 days, not hours, days. One contractor was killed and another injured, so Chevron decided to apologize. It seems fitting, no way?
Yeah.
They might as well. Now, here's a letter Chevron sent to about 100 local residents, and that right there that you see in your upper right-hand corner, that is a gift certificate for free pizza. Lee, is Chevron doing some best business practices with this coupon for pizza and soda? I mean, that is insulting to me, and I'm not a resident of Kelowna,
I think this is a great idea. This is how far apparently we've fallen. That if you go up to some of these people and say, look, your town's being destroyed, there's explosions, people are dying, there's smoke over, but you're gonna get a pizza.
Yes.
They'll be like, shh, just don't mention it or they might take away the pizza. Stop talking about it. They could pull that pizza right out from under us.
The town is on fire, but they get pizza, so it's all good.
But it is a great idea. So I think disaster pizza, and with all the explosions going on around the country, I've come up with my own disaster pizza place.
Please.
And we're going to have a menu here. Keystone XL explosive stromboli, cancerous chemical spill spaghetti, flammable tap water fettuccine, and our trademark black lung barbecue chicken wings. I think are going to be very popular.
Wait, what is the fettuccine? The flammable tap water fettuccine?
Flammable tap water fettuccine.
I gotta try that. That's too good. Is there something actually smarter from a marketing perspective they could do?
No, there are some things they could do. They could stop fracking the hell out of places in Pennsylvania. They could tell people the truth about the chemical. Like they won't even tell the truth about what chemicals are used in fracking. They could tell them the truth about the billions of gallons that's used, of water, the fresh water that's used endlessly. So basically truth. They could pay them off with truth, I think.
I don't know if that would work. It seems like the pizza is a better selling point.
Bad idea.
So I think that's a great way for Chevron to avoid lawsuits. Give the people pizza, because, you know, if you shut them up with pizza, then they're not going to be going to court and suing your butt.
I wonder if they got a corporate rate on the pizzas.
Probably, but they just write...
Hey, we're going to buy out this entire town with pizza, but hey, if we use your shop, can we get a discount? I wonder if that worked out.
Well, they could just write it off to public relations anyway.
Yeah, I know. They're just going to get taxed refund. Remember, most of these major spills are, of course, you know, it's the same case. They privatize the profit and they publicize the cost. The municipalities end up paying for these things. It's amazing injustice.
And if we allow the TPP to go through, then we won't have any recourse for any legal justification for suing these corporations.
And this is true, but I can't believe you tied the TPP in there so well. That was awesome, man. That was awesome!
So we got to be careful of these trade agreements. But here's a person who thought that the poor should be represented differently by mainstream religion. Check out this lady who saw what she thought was a homeless person sleeping on a bench and her reaction.
From a distance, especially at dusk, you would swear this is a homeless man sleeping on a bench in front of St. Albans Episcopal Church. Cindy Castano-Swanek drove by it.
I did call the police. I was coming home late one evening, and I was concerned for the safety of the neighborhood.
A closer look reveals this is metal, not flesh and bone. Crucifixion marks in the feet offer the only clue to the man's identity, Homeless Jesus, a controversial sculpture by Canadian artist Timothy Schmalz.
It's Jesus representing the most marginalized of society.
And to St. Albans rector David Buck, it's beautiful, it's art, it's religion.
We're reminded of what our ultimate calling is as Christians, as people of faith, to do what we can individually and systemically to eliminate homelessness. A part of a faith commitment is to care for the needy.
The sculpture includes room to sit on the bench.
Help us to keep the marginalized in our minds. Help us to do something for them.
An interactive experience, Buck says, with church members like Chuck Dillman being that much closer to God and using the sculpture to pray.
If you've been through what I've been through.
It brings you right up here with them. Yeah. It just gives me an overwhelming sense of peace and comfort.
I can't understand why anyone wouldn't want this.
That's not who Jesus is.
Swanwick says it's an inappropriate message, wrong for the neighborhood, and says Jesus should be standing over the homeless, protecting them, not being one of them.
Jesus is not a vagrant. Jesus is not a helpless person who needs our help.
So remember, homeless people are victimized and generally marginalized all the time. We see this in Kelowna. We've got 1,200 homeless people in this city, or 1,500, not sure what the number is. And they argue about that number as if that makes a big difference. There's thousands of people that are homeless, let alone jobless, and of course there's big complaining about them.
And of course, one of the solutions of our city council is to get the RCMP to issue vagrancy tickets.
Which is ridiculous beyond belief. Instead of doing something about the situation that we're in, maybe creating some jobs, they decide to waste our tax dollars by the tens of millions of dollars. We're going to be hosting an event on Sunday, part 2 of our take a look at the financial debacle that's the $48 million cop shop that we're getting signed in for in a 2-week period. Okay, so that was kind of a stretch, though. Homeless to governments misspending money to victimizing the poor. Did that work?
I think so.
We're not corporate. We're going to leave it in. Okay, so.
Speaking of corporate.
Speaking of no shame.
Apparently there's this thing they call cause marketing.
Cause marketing?
And one of those, give money to this cause for this cause.
Yeah, right.
Or this group for this cause. And apparently one of the big issues they like to market for is breast cancer.
Yeah. And I mean, those little pink ribbons, every damn company that there is out there jumps on that bandwagon.
Because it makes them a lot of money. Check out this about how much your money is actually spent going towards research into cancer.
Susan G. Komen, one of the largest breast cancer organizations in the U.S., popularized the pale pink for breast cancer. Komen raises a lot of its donations through corporate sponsorships who sell pink products known as cause marketing. One of the biggest Pinktober marketing campaigns is in a male-dominated industry. During the month of Pinktober, the NFL has teamed up with the American Cancer Society and their campaign, A Crucial Catch, where you can catch the players, the coaches, and referees all wearing pink products on the field. The NFL is also selling pink merchandise, where a percentage of the proceeds go towards breast cancer research. According to research by the Business Insider, only 8% of money spent on pink NFL merchandise is actually going towards cancer research. The retailer, often the individual team, keeps 50%. I asked a few Washington Redskins players what they think of this.
What percentage of the proceeds from the NFL pink products are going towards breast cancer research?
I'm not really sure.
No. What percentage do you think would you expect?
At least half.
At least half?
At least half.
Would you be surprised to know that only 8% is actually going towards the research?
That is kind of shocking. That's news to me.
While the NFL has recently undergone some scrutiny for donating a small percentage to the cause, it seems to be on par with other cause marketing campaigns. Even Susan G. Komen, which claims to be the seal of approval for consumers.
A standard that we work with is 10% of the retail sales price.
The NFL also claims it's raising awareness for breast cancer. But Karuna says we're a nation that is already aware of breast cancer and it's time we focused on finding a cure. Breast Cancer Action also warns against pink washers, which are organizations that sell products in the name of breast cancer that contain harmful chemicals linked to causing breast cancer. Looks like many companies see pink as the new green. In Washington, D.C., Perry Unboring, RT.
So, they will jump on any bandwagon that there is, trying to make themselves look good. It's sort of like certain other funds where the money doesn't really get to where it's supposed to be going.
Well, it's kind of funny when organizations like KFC jump on the pink washing bandwagon when their product probably has some questions around health.
And of course, they were advertising at one point, one of these major chains, if you buy this 32-ounce soft drink, part of the money went towards the Diabetes Foundation to fight type 1 diabetes. Of course, the logic being, get type 2 diabetes while you fight type 1 diabetes.
And as you can see, that's our look at people and organizations that have absolutely no shame, don't really think it through.
And we are so happy to bring you specials on this. Coming up, we've got specials on the conservatives. They're dropping into our crosshairs as we cover that.
Well, we have an election cycle coming up.
Yes, we're also going to be talking about our mayor wasting $100 million in the city of Kelowna. We're going to be filming the part 2 of that on Sunday. And then we've got another special coming up. What's the other one?
We're going to be talking about the debacle that's going on in the Ukraine.
Stay tuned. We'll be back after this lack of messages.
The 12th graders said that they smoked marijuana recently. Today, that number is down to 22%.
Not the number I just gave.
Well, your number is wrong.
No,
your number is wrong.
Take it up with the National Institutes of Health, all right?
Look,
They're the one that put it out.
I am a council member on the National Institute of Health. Your number is wrong. I'm telling you, it's 22%.
Well, this is an interesting book. Now, I want to clarify, you're a Muslim, so why did you write a book about the founder of Christianity?
Well, to be clear, I am a scholar of religions with 4 degrees, including one in the New Testament and fluency in Biblical Greek, who has been studying the origins of Christianity for 2 decades, who also just happens to be a Muslim. So it's not that I'm just some Muslim writing about Jesus. I am an expert with a PhD in the history of religions. But I have been obsessed with Jesus.
Though, it still begs the question, why would you be interested in the founder of Christianity?
Because it's my job as an academic. I am a professor of religion, including the New Testament. That's what I do for a living, actually.
I want to see a Republican Party that rather than trying to make it more difficult to vote and restricting the number of days and hours you can vote, a Republican Party that says, we want everybody to vote and we're going to give you a reason to vote for us.
All right, but I don't know if asking for an ID is trying to restrict the vote. I mean, I'm sorry. You should be able to prove who you are before you cast the ballot.
No, you should be able to prove who you are when you register to vote. And when you make the proper registration, identify yourself, you shouldn't have to go to some higher level, which is going to restrict some.
Fraud is committed. And I mean, Boston and Chicago, you register and then you show up and it's not you.
I have not seen any study that says fraud is a problem of such significance that these kinds of procedures were in place.
Does it go, anywhere close to the climate change debate that's underway here on Earth? I mean, if the moon had erupting volcanoes a few years ago, well, a few million years ago, however you want to put it, it's not like we've been up there burning fossil fuels.
No, volcanoes are not connected to the burning of fossil fuels. They're connected to mining. But the big thing for us, on my side of this thing, is the science is true. And so when you discover, the people who got really involved in climate change got involved in it often by studying Venus, the planet Venus. So the physics, the science that happens on Venus is the same as the science that happens on the Earth. The science that happens on the moon, in this case the geology, the study of rocks that happens on the moon, is the same science that happens on the Earth. So when you say to yourself, well, I'm going to ignore all the evidence of climate change, you're saying, I'm going to ignore the best ideas anybody's ever had. That's science.
When you have 4 people dead, including the first U.S. ambassador in more than 30 years, how do you call that hype?
How many security contractors died in Iraq, do you know?
I don't.
No, nobody does, because nobody cared. We know that several hundred died, but there was never an official count done of security contractors dead in Iraq. So when I see this focus on what was essentially a small firefight, I think, number one, I've covered a lot of firefights. It's impossible to figure out what happens in them sometimes. And second, I think that the emphasis on Benghazi has been extremely political, partly because Fox was operating as a wing of the Republican Party.
All right. Tom Ricks, thanks very much for joining us today.
You're welcome.